Hey everyone, and welcome back to Cookbook Chronicles, where we are going into our second recipe of Rich Table. The last video, I forgot to mention that I worked for Evan and Sarah Rich at Rich Table. Also helped them with their Chef's Night Out pop-up before they opened. And if you haven't, that's the previous video and recipe I did from the cookbook. And just a little bit of what you'll see me doing today as I review and cook the duck fat madeleines with yogurt and dill. The great part about this recipe is the only special equipment you'll need is a madeleine tin like this. And you could buy this on Amazon. You could buy it at a cookware shop or store. They're roughly like under $20, and if you take care of them, they last a long time. So madeleines are a French cake-like cookie that are baked within that madeleine shell-shaped tin. They decided to use duck fat over traditional extra butter, and it makes for a very savory vehicle for a ton of different toppings or dips. This is just one of them. When I've eaten at Rich Table in the past, we had the madeleines with a duck liver or chicken liver mousse, which again, just excellent. Now, I haven't gotten into too much detail on the cookbook, but that's going to be happening throughout the next couple videos I do on this book. I just want to be able to show that these recipes are meant to be made at home. And there are a couple that are a little bit more labor intensive and you might not be able to execute at home, but they do give quite a few tips and tricks for what you could do if you don't have certain equipment, as you'll see a little bit later on in this video. Another thing I wanted to address is the fact that most of the recipes in this book have ingredients that are readily available either at your farmer's market, supermarket, butcher shop, fishmonger. So if you want Michelin caliber food at home, this book is right up your alley. As the batter is done, you saw previously that within the madeleine tin shells, I sprayed a little bit of nonstick spray. You want to put roughly a tablespoon, maybe a little bit more than a tablespoon of the batter within the shells. Also depends on the size of the tins that you get, but for these, it was a little over a tablespoon of batter that fit into the tins. Once you have the mold filled up with the batter, you're going to want to give it a little tap here and there to get out any air bubbles. As you can see, there is a dome shape once you pull them out of the oven, and that is perfectly normal. Now, earlier I did say that there was only one piece of special equipment, and that still holds true. I just happened to have a smoke gun, and so I used it, and it made this a little bit easier to execute. As you can see, I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to go about this, and it worked out well, but again, just having some technical difficulties here with everything. The rubber tubes blocked right there a little bit too, so yeah, actually cooking here and doing the real thing. Within the book, Sarah and Evan do give a different way of doing this, and they use a Dutch oven, some foil, another mixing bowl, and I've done it that way before, and it works perfectly fine. If you don't have the ability to do that in your home, they give yet another option, which is by using liquid smoke. And again, it works fine. Liquid smoke's very overpowering, so follow that recipe, and I think you should be in good hands. The madeleines baked for about 12 minutes, and while they were baking is when I did this smoked oil, and letting it sit for 10 minutes is the perfect amount of time to get that smokiness. But now we're moving on to making the yogurt, dill, and trout roe. One thing that I've known for some time now is that Evan and Sarah Rich both do food that is simple, however complex. And this yogurt dip is the perfect example. It seems like just a very easy, little dip, but it's the small little nuances that turn it into something spectacular. For example, the addition of the smoke oil, it just gives it that extra richness, and then the trout roe gives little pops of salinity, and it just binds everything together. So something really, really simple sounding just becomes extraordinary. Overall, this recipe was very easy to execute. The step-by-step instructions in the book were very easy to follow, and eating this took me back to dining at Rich Table. I love the fact that they don't shy away from sharing their recipes, and they come out very, very well so far. I hope this continues with their book, and like I said, we have a few more recipes that I'm going to test, and here's the final plate. They were delicious. So if you haven't already, please like, subscribe, leave a comment, and look forward to having you watch the next videos. Doing 2 more on the Rich Table Cookbook, then we'll be moving on to something else. Thanks again.